All right, I'm going to call the meeting of the Whitman Community Preservation Committee to order at 5:35 on December 12th. This meeting is being recorded and will be broadcast on WHCA cable. The first thing we want on our agenda is just to approve the meeting minutes of our last meeting, November 7th. Elaine sent, I think that the description of what we discussed as far as the Historical Commission's pre-application was not correct. So I sent an amended one. Did everyone get that?
I did.
Yeah. So we're going to be voting on those amended meeting minutes I sent yesterday. Do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple maybe corrections.
Okay.
The public comments section. The first line says, Ms. Key stated that Mr. Rosen would like to file an agricultural restriction. I don't.
Yeah, I think maybe you're right. I think she said he was in the office talking about it, but he's not the one that's.
The selectmen are interested in it, right?
Justin?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think that the discussion is and we'll talk about this when we talk about the open space thing, is that the town is asking the CPC for money to do the open space plan, which is, I think, one of the steps along the ways of getting the ultimate conservation restriction. Is that correct, Justin?
Yeah, so sort of roundabout way, we're eligible for more grants for open space conservation if we have an open space plan.
Okay. So just in terms of the minutes, rather than Mr. Rosen, town.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah.
To simplify that. And likewise in the third paragraph of the public comments, it says Chairman Tressel will look into whether the fee for the agricultural restriction can be paid. I think it was the fee for the open space study, right? The whatever. It was.
Yeah.
Would be the development for plan.
Yeah, development.
The fee for the open space or the town share of the fee for the open space and recreation plan.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion about the meeting minutes? Anyone else pick up on anything? Okay. So can I have a motion? So do we motion to approve the minutes as amended?
Right.
Can we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended?
A motion to approve it.
Okay.
Okay,
Jen. Oh, all right. All right. All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right. So the next thing on the agenda is what we talked about at the last meeting. Kathy Keith brought us information about a pre-application for the developing an open space plan for Whitman. And then she sent us along the pre-application, which I sent to everybody here. Did everyone get a chance to look at it? So what the pre-application, I have it just here, is that, their total cost, thank you, is $50,000 to $60,000, and they're looking for $25,000 to $30,000 of it to come from CPA funds. As I sent everyone, I went to the coalition, the Community Preservation Coalition website, and I looked for open space planning, and it was like 472 pages of results. So I think when I sent you guys the links, it was like Acton and like Avon and like Bridgewater and Braintree, like they were all, I was able to find many towns use their CPA funds for this purpose. So it's definitely something, I think, in terms of what we're talking about, is this an allowed use, which is what the pre-application, what our vote on today is, whether or not this would be eligible for CPA funds. And I think based on the number of towns and communities in Massachusetts that have used it for this purpose, I think it's pretty clear that it is, but obviously we can discuss that as well. Okay. So, are there any discussions about the eligibility of the open space funding? Oh, for the funding for the open space plan?
Justin, do you know any more about the timing of this or what contact has been with OCPC?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's only, at this point, all we're deciding is whether it's eligible, and it is, so
Yeah.
we can deal with all the details when they make a more formal
Right.
presentation.
So, all right. So, can I have a motion to approve the funding for the open space plan for Whitman as CPA eligible?
So,
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. All right. All in favor? Aye.
I,
Okay. So I will notify Kathy and let her know that the selectman's office can move forward with filling out the full application for January for that project. We also set aside today to be our annual public informational meeting. We don't really have anyone from the public here, but since this is going on to public access, I will just say the CPA was a law that was passed in Massachusetts back in 2000 with the aim of taking both property tax revenue from towns and money from I think it was the Registry of Deeds to match that money so that towns could fund projects that were for open space, historical preservation, recreation, and housing. Last year was our first year of taking in pre-applications and applications for projects. And last year at town meeting, or this year town meeting, the May town meeting, we recommended in town meeting, voted to approve 3 projects. One in historical, which was to do a survey of buildings in town that were of historical interest. We gave $20,000 to the Historical Commission to do that project. We gave $30,000 to the Recreation Commission to replace the benches in the town park to make them more handicap accessible and just replace them in general. And I know that work has, is it finished? I haven't been over there yet. I know they started it.
Yeah.
I know they started a couple weeks
The
ago.
cement slabs are down and
Yeah.
stuff, that's what I heard.
So, but they're working on it. But that is obviously something that is probably going to be the most visible of the first projects that the CPA funded, because everyone will be able to see there and sit them. And then we gave $105,000 to the Housing Authority to make repairs to the electrical system at the Stetson Terrace Housing project. So those were the first 3 projects. We are in the now. We have just voted on 2 pre-applications for this year that will go to the application process, which will happen in January. The application will be due in January, and then we as a committee will look at those applications and then make our recommendations for the town meeting in May. So that is basically the information about the Community Preservation Committee for this year. So if anyone is watching this later and is wondering what we do, this is the purpose of this committee. So that will qualify as our public informational meeting of 2023. All right. Anyone else have anything they want to add to that? Okay. All right. I'm afraid to open up public comment since my daughter is here, but does Justin have anything you want to add?
No.
Okay.
about the public.
Yeah. So, does anyone have anything else that they feel we need to address at this point?
We had on the agenda, we were going to discuss the dates of the applications for next year.
Yeah. So I actually have. I think what we, because I think we were talking. I have not heard back from the IT people about about our applications, but I know what I was thinking in terms of kind of a being maybe more, kind of organized in our meetings, which is that, our meetings after the holidays will be focused on, we'll get the applications and we'll be going over the applications and voting on the applications and getting the warrant language ready for the town meeting. And then I thought maybe it would be wise perhaps to maybe do our 2024 public information meeting at our June meeting, because then if there are town committees or commissions that are interested in doing projects, so if they come to the June meeting, they can have the summer and we know that what the dates will be, which I think that what we had talked about at the last meeting was keeping the idea that we would make have the applications have dates on them, but keep the dates kind of fixed into that Wednesday after Martin Luther King Day and the Wednesday after Columbus Day and the Wednesday after Martin Luther King Day, as whatever those dates would be, those would be the dates of the pre-application and the application deadlines, and but that we could we don't really have a lot of things to do after the town meeting in May, so having the informational meeting where we could maybe it would be something like this where there would be no one that would come, but maybe there would be members of the community that would come to be interested in learning about it and learning whether or not the projects they're interested in would be something that could be funded with CPA funds. In June would then give them time over the summer to put together the pre-application for the October deadline, and then maybe either at that meeting or at the end of that meeting or in June we could do the reorganization vote, because when do people get resworn in? Is it
May.
July 1st.
July? Is it July 1st?
For one communities, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that could be something we could do at our August or September meeting, is do the reorganization. Because unless something comes up, my thought would be that we probably might not need to meet in the summer, unless obviously there was an issue this summer with the Peaceful Meadows thing where we wanted to meet in August. But I think that if we kind of set up an idea that we'll, and we might not need to necessarily meet in January either. If the applications are due the last week of January, we could set our next meeting for early February, have meetings in February, March, and April to get ready for town meeting. Then have a meeting in June, which is public information meeting, and then reconvene in September with a reorganizational meeting. But then also the idea being that if we get the application date and the pre-application date, which I think obviously we know will be whatever those dates are for after Columbus Day and Martin Luther King Day, but get the new applications to the IT people in June, hopefully giving them more time to get it ready to be up for October for people to have it up there. So we can kind of maybe plan on having the June meeting be both the public informational meeting and then also the final approval of any changes for the pre-application application. So those can go to get up on the website. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Give them as much time as possible so people will have time for that. That was kind of what I was thinking. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts vis-a-vis that kind of schedule. And like I said, obviously, anytime that there's something that comes up, like last summer with Peaceful Meadows, where we had to have a meeting in August, we can certainly call one, but kind of tentatively plan to have meetings February, March, April, June, then be off in July and August, and come back in September to get ready for the next round of project applications. Okay. So that was my thought about that. So, I mean, that's not something that we don't set the meeting dates that far in advance, but just kind of what I was thinking, and kind of, I think we need to vote on that or anything. We can make those decisions, in April and so on about our next meetings and stuff. So, but, all right. So speaking of meetings, we have to set the date of our next meeting. So the applications will be coming in on due January 17th. We usually meet the first Tuesday of the month, which would be February 6th, which would give, let me just look at the
3 weeks.
3 weeks to look over the applications. Does that feel like enough time for everybody? I mean, there's only going to be 2, so I mean, it shouldn't be too bad. But
That's an hour.
we haven't, we have to approve the pre-applications, and we kind of made an exception for the town's one coming in after the deadline, but typically we would not. So yeah, so there'll be 2 applications or less, unless if somebody decides not to go forward with an application. But so at most 2. When I get them by email on this, I'll on the 17th. The next day I'll forward them to everybody in the committee so that they have, those, that 2.5 weeks roughly to look over them. And then does February 6th work for everybody? Okay.
Now.
All right. So we'll plan our next meeting as being on February 6th at 5:30, and it'll be. I mean, I don't say it won't necessarily. It doesn't have to be like super long, but it'll obviously be longer because we'll be looking at actual applications and discussing the merits of those applications versus the eligibility, which is obviously a simpler question. The eligibility, they're either eligible or they're not, but whether or not we want to vote to approve them or recommend them, rather, to town meeting, it might be a little bit of a lengthier process. So. We'll plan on 5:30 on February 6th. All right. Is there any other business before we adjourn?
I think I remember seeing an email from Community Preservation Coalition, because I want to email us.
Yeah.
The town had gotten anything official about the amount of the match for this year. I know it's down from last.
I know that's what I've been getting to, that it's been down. I don't know if we've actually gotten it
I
yet.
think it's currently looking at the statutory minimum, which is like 30%.
Yeah. So I know that tax revenue and collections were down significantly, I think, in Massachusetts. So I think that was I'm probably reading this emails you are, John, but I don't know if we've received the money yet or not.
Received it. I know the supplemental budget was pulling teeth to get through the
Right.
State House. So.
Yeah. So, but we should have that information by the next meeting in February, I would think. So, as to how much the match ended up being, and then because we in our warrant language we included that, an estimation of that, right?
Yeah, we used the estimate in our
Yeah.
revenue and then round up a little bit.
Yeah. So, but I guess if we put, because I think the big issue is those buckets. But if our estimate of putting the money, in other words, if we put more money in than we end up receiving, we're fine, because you can put more in, but you can't put less in.
You can put more than the 10%.
More than 10%. So if in other words, if our estimate for what the state gave us was higher than what we ended up getting, we'll be clear because we'll put more money in than the 10%.
Yep.
So that
Except
won't.
for the administrative part caps out at 5%, so we usually want to round down a little bit.
Right. So, that's true. It does.
That's just a pay shell.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, I don't think we have any other expenses other than you. You're there.
That's a huge expense.
I know.
Huge.
Most important, anyway.
I know. Yeah. Well. All right. Well, does anyone else have any other matters to discuss? Okay. All right. Well then, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. All right. So thank you guys very much. That was all in favor. Oh yeah. Aye. All right. Thank you guys very much.